Good afternoon and welcome to today's Clergy Check-In for the last day of November, Monday, November 30th. This week's Torah portion, Vayishlach, is perhaps one of my favorites of all of the book of Genesis because the theme of it is truly transformation. In it, Jacob is transformed individually and collectively. In the storyline, Jacob is poised to return home after 20 years at his uncle's home. He brings with him all of his possessions, his wives, his children. And in fact, he is a bit terrified because he knows his brother Esau had vowed to kill him if he ever saw him again. And so the night before encountering Esau, he divides his camp into two. And what he does is he stays on one side of the river alone in the dark, yet again terrified. And at that moment, he encounters, dreams, the image, the person, the angel of God, who wrestles with him till the morning. And Jacob prevails in this fight. And as the fight is ending, as sun is rising, the angel says to Jacob, "Let me go." And Jacob says, "No, not until you bless me." And then the angel gives to Jacob the blessing that his name will be changed. No longer will he be called Yaakov, Jacob, the one who latched onto the heel of his brother, but rather Yisrael, the one who struggles with God. And so Jacob emerges from that moment fortified. He meets his brother who actually forgives him, and they part as friends and as brothers. We, B'nai Yisrael, have inherited that tradition of Jacob, that of wrestling with God, that of at times arguing like Abraham did at Sodom, to be able to hold God accountable for the actions that exist in the world. Perhaps it gives us a sense of partnership that is clearly important within our tradition, and the rabbis of ancient years also wrestled with God, and throughout times of trauma and struggle, that wrestling is very, very palpable. But I'd like to hafoch ba. I'd like to turn that notion of wrestling in a different direction. Perhaps sometimes we might want to wrestle with God, holding God accountable. But sometimes we may need to wrestle with God, believing that God is at our side in our struggles throughout our lives, and that God is not an adversary, but can be a supporting parent, a supporting friend, a supporting conscience. And so as we read this portion this Shabbat, may we always pledge to wrestle with our tradition, with what is in our hands to change, and to know that, like Jacob, we are not necessarily alone in that struggle, and that we have companionship and strength at our side. Hope you have a good and safe day. Shalom.